Hi. Here on the side almost makes me think of Lambiek from Suske and Wiske. But okay. Years ago I made some videos and some updates about my scooter and what I did with it. I recently said that with my new scooter I do not do things about it. I thought about the acceleration pump. It's a little lever on the carburetor on the side, and when you pull it, there is a little pump that's been pushed. My dealer said that is for when it's winter and you need to start the scooter, so you give a couple of times gas and then you start it. It blows extra fuel in the carburetor. And of course, the whole year, every time of the year, it's cold and you need to start your scooter, right? So it's called acceleration pump, so you accelerate. I got a very good dealer, but that part apparently doesn't know for years. I had someone who helped me to learn this. Enabled the acceleration pump, put a tie rip around it so that it is stuck. Then it's like pushed in and not able to go back. If your scooter runs 1 on 34, that means on 1 liter 34 kilometers you can ride. Let's say that now he does 1 on 36. Because every little bit you twist or turn over the gas handle, the gas lever, it sprays from a little to a much. I did on my previous scooter and I did it now with this one, but that was not the first thing I did. It wasn't fast enough. Top speed was 48 kilometers an hour. It was first a little faster. He was totally original. Then I the vario ring out of it, because if you drive on some ways and you got some cars behind you, it's very nerve-wracking when you go not even 48 when you go on a bridge. And it's not good for the fuel consumption because, well, vario ring means like a car, it's stuck in third, and that means if you need to go faster than 50 kilometers per hour, it goes high in RPM, so it uses extra gas and not good. And with a scooter, with this story, you go in you got a limiter on the vario and on the CDI, so the electronic part that controls the spark for the spark plug. When you go in the limiter, 7,800 RPM, if I'm correct, and it skips a spark. So one time it burns the fuel and the next time not. That's why it's a little weaker. And you drive more expensive. Yeah, there is a fly around, so that bothers me. And I said that it doesn't go fast enough, and then he mentioned the electronic part so that it has a later limit. But I thought, no, I don't want to let it make more RPM, but it still has to make the climb on the bridge, and then can go more RPM. But by the time I'm up there, it doesn't need it anymore, because you need to make a climb, blah blah blah. Later on, apparently they put in heavier rolls. Then I thought, why didn't I think of that? Because when you put in heavier rolls, it pushes earlier outside, so the vario goes open earlier. So it's like pulling up in second, everything is a gear higher. So the speed now went up, RPM goes down, because with less RPM it has more speed. It's not like it's going on its back wheel when you ride away. It didn't do that, but like that. And now it doesn't do that, but it goes faster. So that was done, but because of that, the dealer doesn't adjust the air screw for the stationary part, for the idle part. When I stood still and the engine wasn't warm enough, it goes because there's more fuel than air. So when it's stationary, idle, it first has to burn all the fuel, and then it goes up and down in RPM, and when it goes too low, your engine shuts off. So now I had that, and I thought, no. So oh my god, on my feeling in the box, I adjusted the stationary screw and the air screw, but it is actually something you have to do when your engine is on, so you hear it. So I enabled the acceleration pump, and I adjusted outside because it did again shut off. So I did that screw out till you get the highest RPM. The air screw out till you hear it. And when it goes lower, you know now it is a little too far. So you go to the highest RPM, then adjust. You're supposed to screw back the stationary screw, the idle screw, till it shuts off, and then a little more than a half turn open. But I was riding today, and when I became to stop, I noticed that it still was floating on fumes. So that means my air screw is not out totally as it needs. So my god, I've adjusted it in a box, but I need to look at it tomorrow. So how much it really needs to be open. So I also noticed on the idle screw that it wasn't totally correct. So I twisted. I put the RPM a little higher because it didn't work fine yet, and with starting it doesn't work fine yet too. So I turned the idle screw a little higher, and now I turned the air screw a little out, a quarter, I think, a little more than a quarter. So now I have to watch that and adjust it as needed. So eventually I did something to my scooter. Because of this, it reacts faster, idle is way better, and because of the rolls, it went from 1 on 36 and a half to 39 and a half, and with acceleration screw acceleration pump it went to 40.1 actually, and with the air screw, because it uses less air, less gas, and well, it does it better, moves better. It has more air, less fuel, so possibly it can even be more less consumption. Lost in words, rumbling of the tongue. So now I have to wait that, and I hope it will be 1 on 42 or so. When it, not this last server that a dealer took care of my scooter, but the one time there before that, by this one was with, it was supposed to be with 8,000, but I already was on 10,000. So back at 4,000, I said, how will my scooter be when it's finally driven in? It now is at 136 kilometers an hour, the fuel consumption. And he said, what? 36? Most people here have 1 on 30. I thought, what? Not 2-takt, but 4-takt. Yeah, I call it 4-takt. So, but 1 on 30 is bad. That's high usage. So then I thought, then there, it wasn't right. So he said, if you got 1 on 36, it's great. I thought, well, I even read people at 1 on 48 or something. So I did the rolls dated, but I did the rest, so it pulls up nicely, and it should even pull up a little better with if it is adjusted correctly. I have to find out tomorrow. Acceleration pump is off, and I hope the store here doesn't supply acetone anymore, the kruidvat. So I have to wait till they do, because 5 milliliters on 1 liter of gas in the gas tank takes care of that. It's a little bit has a little bit more power, and then it even possibly can become 1 on 43 or 4. So waiting for that, and yeah, scooter update. Bye bye.